Good morning, option addicts. It is Friday, February 2nd. That's right, it's a Friday. But more importantly, it's Groundhog's Day, right? Anyhow, as you can see, I'm trying to flirt with a little bit of new technology. Imagine the power we all could have if we went video. So hopefully that's kind of a direction that we start to steer towards. As you all know, I try to get in about 2 to 3 posts per day on the blog, but with my new schedule, sometimes that gets pretty hectic. I thought, well, hey, if we had some kind of a watch list, if we had trades that we were going to follow up on and look at every single day, maybe we could do just a quick, short video segment to where we can talk about some of these things rather than have me take, an hour or so out of my day to type them down. I think this is a really good compromise. And I'm open to some feedback. So if you like this idea, if you don't like the idea, leave some posts here and let me know what your thoughts are. Now, as you can see, I'm right here on the interactive chart, and that's where we're going to do our deed today. I just want to run through kind of what the market is doing. I want to run through a couple of stocks, and we'll see where it takes us. Right now, I'm on the chart of the Dow Industrials, $INDU. What do we see going on today? Nothing. Typical Friday action, right? We've seen that been going on for several weeks now. Another Friday, we're just barely below water on the Dow. But what do we think about this trend? Higher highs, higher lows. We just popped up. We made that higher high. It's likely here we see a little bit of neutral action between buyers and sellers, and we start working our way back down to that higher low. If I want to get really creative here and draw some trending channel lines. Ooh, take a look at that, huh? Got a nice little channel there in the Dow. We happen to be right up against the upper end of that resistance. So it wouldn't be too out of the ordinary to see a little bit of a pullback, to see profits bleed off a little bit. And would be absolutely appropriate. What about over in technology? What do we see the NASDAQ doing today? If you take a look at the NASDAQ here, not as well defined. I think the NASDAQ's been a little bit choppier, but just looking at price action here, I'm going to draw a couple more trend lines if you guys don't mind. We're seeing, still seeing some higher highs. Right now, though, in comparison with our last high, we're definitely a little bit lower. So I would like to see the NASDAQ continue to run a little bit. And today's action, where we're posting a 10-point gain on the day, is actually good compared to the Dow being down. So I like that aspect of it. The S&P, it's also neutral in the day, very similar to the Dow. But what's going on in the world of stocks? Of course, this is a market of stocks rather than a stock market, as I always say. So what I like to do if I'm here on the interactive chart is I'm going to click on this icon on the left that says Chart Toppers. And I'm going to expand the New York Stock Exchange because I want to see what's going on in this market of stocks. Okay, what's heating up? Who are some of the top dollar gainers today? Now, if I go to this icon over here on the left-hand side, I'm likely to see some of the stocks that are really performing well. I've always been a real big proponent of relative strength. Find the stocks that are doing extraordinarily well, and those are the ones you want to trade. ICE, does that ring a bell? And we talk about that on the blog all the time. If we want to get real nifty here and start drawing some patterns around this, we've got kind of a let me get my trend lines drawn here. A real short-term ascending triangle, and you can see we popped outside of that today. So looking at that, very, very short term, only took about three weeks to be finally formed, and then of course confirmed today. Looking at volume so far, really, really good. But where are we? We're right ahead of an earnings announcement. So if you are going to take that trade, you got to keep it very, very short term. Of course, it's not looking for a huge move here, but I wouldn't be too surprised to see this stock end up just under 150 before earnings announcement. So ICE definitely on our list. What also is really interesting is if you look at the dollar gainers today, notice that about 3 or 4 of these guys here are home builders. You got your Rylands, you've got your Meritage, and we've also got BHS. If I bring that guy up here, Brookfield Homes, notice how we got a nice big pop through this prior level of resistance. Now, of course, this coming off the great news that the Fed made about, home builders looking pretty positive, looking to rebound. Got some great movements out of these individual stocks. Now, if you see that all of them are setting up, of course, I don't recommend taking more than one trade in a particular industry group. You got to stay away from having too many correlated trades. But if you want to get really fancy, you want to get diversified, go XHB, Spider Home Builders. Here's the ETF that includes all as one. So you can get kind of the same trend out of all of them in the form of one individual trade. Great way to diversify. So looking at the XHB, yesterday was technically the straw that broke the camel's back here, but today some great follow-up action. It looks like these guys are in pursuit of making that higher high. So there's some opportunity going on there for short-term traders as well. What else do I got going on? I'm going to close down dollar gainers. I'm going to look at new 52-week highs, and first on the list is X, which is U.S. Steel. Now, I tried to be really timely in my blog post on this one because the day it happened, we got it. I got the post right there at the close, or it was a little bit before the close actually. On this particular day, I'm going to highlight the day that we talked about this, which was about Tuesday or something like that. Anyhow, great continuation the next day. Kind of a little bit of a neutral day yesterday, although it was still positive. Today we're posting more gains. Every day the stock moves up, it's a new 52-week high. This is great information, great news, a great trade. At this point, if you're in this trade, what should you be doing? Should you be having stops? Absolutely. Are you willing to let it run all the way back down to that old resistance as new support? That's back at about $78.50 or so per share. I doubt with the stock trading at 85, you're going to want to let it go all the way back down there. So what you might want to do is maybe use your daily candlesticks. If you confirm any of these, hanging men that you can see that are kind of forming on the candlestick patterns, if any of those are confirmed with a down day, maybe you take some short-term profits. I think at a situation like this where the stock has exploded so far away from that old resistance, you're probably not going to want to give back all those profits in order to see it run quite a bit more. But great flag breakout on this one. You can see the flag started at about 72.5. And I'm going to zoom in here a little bit if you guys don't mind. And let's take a look here. All right, so it ran up to its current 52-week high. You can see it flagged a little bit right at resistance. So as we measure flags, what you want to do is start from the very bottom of this flagpole, which is right at about $72 per share, and then go up to the top, which is right at about $78.79. Okay, so if we wanted to be generous, we wanted to call it 79. That means we'd expect about a $7 movement once it broke through that resistance. You can see it happened here, which is right at about 78 is where it broke. That means we forward project a 7-point movement, which means our target price is 85. And if we don't hit that intraday, it's likely we might hit it on Monday. But if you're that close, you don't want to get greedy. You might not want to get greedy. You never know what could happen over the weekend. You're going to be holding on to options that, of course, will result in some time decay. This was just supposed to be a quick short-term trade. We're looking for a 7-point movement. We're 50 cents away from that now. So if you get that intraday, you might want to take it. So that ended up being a great trade. Something else I wanted to look at, not in the 52-week highs necessarily, but going over to the NASDAQ, see what's going on that exchange. And the dollar gainers, CROX. Saw a lot of posts going on about this particular stock, and this is one we were tracking that was kind of a cup and handle formation. Oops, let's draw our trend lines here. You can see kind of an area of resistance right around 50 or so. And you see the rounding formation that started from the two tops, and that's our cup. The handle, of course, was on the second test of resistance right at around 50. Traced back down to as low as 47.5 finally, broke through resistance, came back down, and notice how it retested old resistance as new support. Very, very, very important. At that point, the pattern's still working for us, so not necessarily a time to get out of the trade, but if you're an options trader and you didn't buy enough time, you might start sweating at that point. So make sure when you trade these patterns, you can see this pattern here took about 2.5, 3 months to form. Make sure you got a 2.5 to 3 month option at least. Stock had a great move today, really coming through, volumes picking up on this breakout, so great trade. It's panning out just the way we thought it would. So anyhow, so that's what I want to talk about today. A little bit of market analysis, follow up on just a couple of trades. Really, this was a great opportunity for me to kind of try this out. So probably wasn't the greatest of presentations because I'm still learning about how to, get some of this to work. But anyway, hopefully we'll get a little bit better at this. Hopefully this will be a new form of technology that we can get out and use between one another, look at some things, answer some questions. I think it's going to be the start of a great relationship here for us. Anyways, As always, I think you guys are the greatest. I really appreciate all the support and the interest you guys have shown in the blog. I plan to make it quite a lot better. But until then, I want you guys to have a great weekend, and go Colts. We'll see you.